Boy, these really make it dark. Look how dark it is. Jeez. Yeah. Hi guys, this is Alan. Again, target individual. Now I do know that overwhelming the amount of people that were claiming to be target individuals in 2019, 2018, 2019, overwhelming were, I don't like it when people claim that so-and-so's a perp or something, but I noticed they're not either making videos or they're claiming other people that were TIs also. That weren't. These were people that might have been harassed by the government, but that doesn't mean they're the TIs such as voice to skull or synthetic, people that were operated with implanted technology like Neurolink. They have different programs, and they mostly, it's like January 6th, the feds and the military just do what they're told. Like in other countries, they're just doing what they're told. Look at Israel. Israel, their grandparents were part of the Holocaust. They have that background. But now, if their military tells them to do something dreadful, the majority of these officers probably would not wish or dream, even if they don't like the Palestinians. Knowing what their own grandparents went through, they might wish for the Messiah, the Messias, but to do something this in the hopes that the Rebbe, and I understand people wanting to do things to see God come to earth. I have the same wish. I know free thinkers and atheists just listen to this and it's another proof of the badness of some parts of religion. When it gets like this and they use the religion for violence, whether it be Chemosh in the Old Testament or Molech, it's weird coming from a religious town like Dallas, and knowing that they're willing for money to take money to use me as an experiment. It's like change the name from Dallas to Molech. You're willing to sacrifice children, or at least someone else's children. And I'm sure that the North Carolinians, after going through a horrible thing, what they went through, and to realize our government, instead of helping them, they would rather sell weapons and give the money to Israel and give the money to Ukraine. But then to make it's just, and I'm sorry for what they are going through. And it just must hurt quadruply so to see our government make up stuff why they can't give money to them because they don't have enough because of migrants or immigrants or they're waiting for Congress to get back. This money should have already been there appropriated for FEMA. Anyway, I'm going off topic big time. When I'm talking about siphoning emotions, I'm talking about literally, when they talk about AI, they're talking about normally something that robots that don't have emotions. Now, when you have V2K, voice to skull, if you look at Wired magazine, it's one of the only places that literally had talked about it, why the Army yanked it off its website. But voice to skull is literally just a little, very small, miniature little chip implant, just like Elon Musk's, and his is even called telepathy. So when we talk about synthetic telepathy, we're talking about a technology that's even out in the public sphere. People can read your brain thoughts and brain waves, and can voice it back to you. And it's not in the crazy science fiction realm of it's literally really happening. And that our government, after gain of function, I think people know that our government is just that asshole, and that people in our own hometowns, even if they're religious, claiming conservative, that they would go along with a torture program to get money for hospitals. But you are torturing a child and their parents. have to put up with it, and the child has to put up with it. And it's like you might as well just name it Molech, because that's what you're doing. You're just, it's disgusting, but again, they care about the money they're getting, and they don't care. Like the Palestinian people. I mean, when I'm saying about siphoning, I mean literally going from 15, 16, getting these little sharp pains to my side, going to the doctors, I mean, for years, and they sent me to a specialist, and it wasn't for 30, can you imagine going through a pain, getting after 12 years, getting pain meds, thankfully for that. But then to find out they were never trying to actually heal you. They were the ones that actually went and put something in your body. I even have a book, MK Ultra Tech, that shows the patents to the implanted technology. They're called implantables. Anything like pacemakers and implantable, something that's implanted or put into the body. The technical term is implantables. And I know what I experienced is just a side pain, chronic. And I didn't know it was things called D.E.Ws. I thought they screwed up an operation. But that screw up, it literally makes it to where you can't feel 90% to 95% of the emotions you would normally feel through the things of situations of life, your day, good things or bad things. And to where it almost promotes like an anhedonic, but it's not a natural anhedonic like through pain meds, because that can happen through too much pain meds, or you just get bored, or your brain is, this is not that. This is just literally putting a directed energy implantable weapon, and it literally feels like it's siphoning your emotions, because 90% of your emotions you would normally feel, it's not just your brain, it's also your emotion. That's why you put your hand over your heart, because you feel a lot of your stronger positive emotions, even anger, on your heart, your side, or I should say, where you put your hand on the Pledge of Allegiance, your strong self emotions, and they deplete your sense of self. And now I literally thought that was because I was a very dedicated evangelical Christian. I had evangelized, but I was more introverted. But I thought, well, maybe I died to myself, and there was a lot of die to yourself in the New Testament, maybe. But then the V2K thing happened around 2015. And I was like, why? I have no enemies. Why is somebody screwing with me? And then you find out there's a whole group of people this is being done to, this is at the same time it was called Havana Syndrome in the news, where government workers were being attacked by Havana or Russia or China. And they were doing this to me and other regular people who aren't government workers. Now, I have people in my family that was like a Vietnam vet and long time ago, but and uncles and stuff like that were very high up, in their service. But me, no. And that's what it feels like. If you go through years, it just literally feels like there's a side pain right over here, and it literally siphons off your emotions, and your sense of self is depleted, because there's like a part where you can't even meditate or pray, and that it just gets blocked. The reason I know that is because I've had 12 times where I thought it was a miracle that I got healed, where it got turned off. So they turn something on continuously don't need batteries. It doesn't need an operation to put a battery in. It's paleosonic or whatever it is, where it uses the body's natural electricity to replete itself, so to speak. And it does this. It just sucks a lot of your emotions out of to your left side, where you feel strong. And you're just left with, because it causes pain on your left side, where your real sense of self is, your emotional sense of self. And because it causes pain, so this causes depression and pain, and you can't feel your normal sense of emotions. So to a regular doctor, they might ignore the directed energy weapon talk, even though it was all over the news for 5 years, and people on the news were saying, no, military, no, this is real. We have it, we do it, we know we have it, we've experimented on people. Then you see the White House bioethics in 2011 and 2012. Oh yeah, all these people complaining about being experimented on by our government. The same exact directed energy weapons, synthetic telepathy, voice to skull, getting hit throughout different parts of the body through nano, whatever. It's just that they use people as experiments. We accuse other countries as being barbaric, and but our own country does it still. It's torture. And whenever I try to write to my senators, or or the Havana Syndrome board of people, and certified mail, and I don't hear anything from them. They know this stuff is going on. It was on the news for all these years, and yet it's just but I still do. I still keep going on, and I still send some more things out. There's a whole group of people, that are helping PAX International, Targeted Justice. We don't know how many is, involved in what groups that's real, or what groups are, people are set up by the government to infiltrate this stuff. We know that, that's what they do. It's like January 6th. They pretend to help, but then they're, they got some really good people involved. But such an obvious thing that's obviously illegal, against everything that our government and other governments have condemned, from the Nuremberg, just the common law and all this stuff. They know it's wrong, illegal, but then they make up a new law, or just do it anyway and don't give a fuck, because you're not them. That's it. You're not me, so I can torture you and try to get money off your torture. And yet, majority of people will claim to be Christian. And that's what I studied my entire life, was the Christian faith, apologetics. And it's like, this is the big side. Like, look at these, not one person, and would admit to it. It's too ashamed, too embarrassed, or so what? You can stop. You have to, this is already coming out. It's already been out. And people are just, going, hoping that they just hope, even though I had no enemies, never hurt anybody, they hope I die, rather than they have to admit that and people know it, that they are going along with it. So, and I went to the Attorney General, left at the City Hall, went to the police here in Salem, went to the police in Dallas. Finally, one of them called and said, yeah, well, it's a federal issue. The fusion, it's like, so what? It's still illegal. And it's like, well, it's just true. It's like, what? So these are people that don't care about the Constitution. They care about their rights, but they don't care about the rights of other people that aren't them. So that protect and serve stuff. And it's weird that they have half the population saying how great and wonderful. And in some ways they are, brave, but if they're told to torture people and ignore it when they come for help, what do you think about people like that? If we see that in Guatemala or some third world country, someone being tortured, or Haiti, but when it happens in America, by conservative people, conservative evangelical Christian people, then it's like, and they got swayed with the money. And I called them, and it's like, what about all this drain the swamp talk? What about all this drain the swamp? They're literally siphoning constant pain since 14, 15, 16. Well, at that time it was just zaps, but it grew into a constant side pain. My doctors did send me to specialists to give me pain meds, which I was thankful for, still am. But then to realize I didn't need this pain in the first place. They could have just not or not put me in this program, or told me about it and told me how to take the thing back out, the implantable D.E.W, directed energy weapon. But I was just a guinea pig because I wasn't them. I wasn't born in their family. But still, it is disgusting. They can literally look at my entire life, and I have been kind my entire life. I don't think of anything where I've taken advantage of anybody, so there's nothing they can point to. Nobody likes a big self-righteous, but I didn't volunteer my time on my day off. I wasn't like that kind of good, but I was just in pain, and I kind of stayed home, and I'd help people. I've had about 5 or 6 times where people needed a place to stay, and I let them stay for free. But anyway, other people have done better. But I've never done anything really wrong that hurt people. So I thought, well, I don't have any enemies ever. I was very sensitive to not cause anybody pain. And if I even thought I did, I would try to make amends. And anyway, they're still doing it. And that's the police. I had no criminal record. I even thought the police were good because, but I just knew I was in constant pain. And I never thought that it was literally that they were going along with this and getting paid. Doctors were, hospitals, and this whole big conspiracy. But there's books written about it. I've got tons of books. It was called Target Individual, but on TV, on the news, it was called Havana Syndrome. And it was so embarrassing. They even have a directed energy weapons caucus in Washington, D.C. that senators are part of. And it's just got to be embarrassing. Because on one hand, they'll be part of this, but on another day of the week, they're evangelicals or Catholics or something. And it's not Christian bashing. I know there's wonderful people of Christian faith, Catholic and Protestant. And there's wonderful people, I'm sure, that are humanists, that are Muslim and Jewish. And it's not a black and white, good or bad. There's people with a lot of gray, too. There's that field. But anybody that goes along with torture, even if it's one person, even if you're a person that delivers babies, and but if you go around torturing one person, if you deliver and help heal 80% of the people, but then on your off days, you go along with a torture program for even one person, not one day, you allow them to be tortured every single day. Then what kind of person are you? And then when that person finds out and after 30 years tries to get help from you, then you just ignore it because you're told to, and you sign non-disclosure agreements. This is what Fox News and CNN has to deal with. They have to deal with people like this they would love the police and military, but they need to expose that this is what they're doing too. The very police that you love, FBI, even though they've been on the shit show ever since J. Edgar Hoover, if you take a look about police and FBI especially, and the Christianity and the church-going habits of FBI, there's been this swath of wanting a promotion of conservative religion in the FBI ranks. So it's really the FBI, even though he was a cross-dresser, Hoover, he had this thing about promoting conservative religion. Even the former guy, the tall FBI guy, Comer, had his password. I believe he told the station it was like Robert Nibbur, the Nibbur brothers from Neo-Orthodox. The Reinhold Nibbur, Anyway, this conservative. Why would conservative religious people be involved with a torture and suicide, trying to get people commit suicide? I don't know if they think it's going to be a 7 mountain thing, take control and dominate the world for Christ, or soldiers for Christ or something. It's like they can look, literally, they had scrupulosity. I studied it and left it in just apologetics for Christianity, and I mean, literally, I thought that I had died to myself, my person, to the point of my emotions were, but I didn't want it to happen to other people, so I wouldn't tell people about that part of it because I thought it might happen to them. And then it was 30 years, and I found out, no, it's a fucking technology. I wouldn't even say the F word back then. But it's like, they actually did this to me. They know that I know, and they still, not even one person is going to come clean about it. They just hope that I go away. And it's like, not one person. They want me to die, and then they'll pretend that they have a conscience. And, oh, well, I wasn't right with the Lord back then when I was part of that torture thing. All of us could have done something right and healed him for 30 years, and 38 years now we could have done the right thing. But we're going to wait for him to die, and then we get our check and our money, and then we're all going to come back to the Lord and have like a big, a big food thing, like an after church potluck, and say we're sorry to his ghost. But secretly, they're going to hope I'm in purgatory or something, even though I was kind my entire life, spent my entire life studying religion, and even atheism, studying that too. And thought the fine-tuning argument made me a believer, and Richard Taylor's design argument made me believe in that. And the free will is a type of dualism, convinced of it. But still, I think their real God is just money, and wherever they can get it. It's not just Washington, D.C. that they point their finger at. It's who takes that money and who does this shitty thing on behalf of Washington, D.C. or the D.O.W. And, but, they just want that person to be gone so that they can pretend they have a conscience and then pretend that they're Christian again. And it's like when you're in this program, you are a walking, talking reminder of how shitty they are. Not as people. And I'm just hoping that somebody, and I believe there are some good people, but it's like the Old Testament where you thought majority of the people in your town are good. They have problems and they have issues and bad days, but they're genuinely good people. But then it's like the Old Testament where the prophet is arguing with God. Well, what if there's 50 good people? Well, what if and you find out there's not 50? What if there's 40 that are willing to do the right thing and not go along with it, and they'll confess and try to do the right thing, and then you find out, no, there's not even 40. What if there's 20? What if there's 10? And then it's like, then you realize it was really dwindled down. And after a while, the guy just says, fuck them. These are not kind, good people. These are people that are the same people that would rather buy bombs, send them to Israel to blow up people that look different, that have different skin color, different religion. And they wouldn't, the leaders wouldn't even send that money to Carolina. They wouldn't even do it. There's not storming the streets like George Floyd. They're not doing it to help the North Carolinians, It's just, well, they don't have the money yet. What can you do? They're giving bombs and bullets to Ukraine and Israel. And it does make you wonder how much of this stuff is Israel, and how much is propaganda. I don't see, when these leaders of Iran get blown up and all this stuff, I've never seen an actual photo of these leaders getting blown, or their faces. Never seen any of them. The only one I ever saw die was Saddam Hussein. He was hung, and it showed the pictures of his kids, the burial pictures, but I've never seen one of Osama bin Laden. I've never seen any of these Iranian leaders. And then it was funny because the Iranian leaders would call, it was on Fox News, that they had called Washington. They first called Turkey and told Turkey, hey, call Washington, let them know that we're going to retaliate with bombs. But we won't make it too, And they actually said it twice. 2 different times for 2 different bombing raids in retaliation to Israel. And it's like, why would they call the great state Israel or America, and then warn them, hey, we're going to retaliate pretty soon. We'll call Turkey, but Turkey, you need to call America and let them know this is coming. We'll make it this to impress our people that we're retaliating, and they can sing Allah Akbar. But we're going to purposely warn those people so that they can warn the Israelis where this is going to be, so that they can later say, oh, no Israelis were killed at it, maybe a little shrapnel. And then they can say, oh, God spared them. And that's wonderful that God spared them. But all this back and forth, letting the enemy know they're about to do something, it's like, how much deep state money does this go to other? It's like Bibi Netanyahu supplanting Hamas with all this money beforehand and knowing about all this stuff. And they're trying to create this scenario to make everything look as eschatological for all these religions, to make it look like it's, I don't know if it's going to be Project Blue Book, but when you are a TI and you know that our government and the people of your own town are willing to do some ugly shit, and you always thought they were good people, you had no enemies, then you realize just how much they will chase after $1 or $10 or 20, and just they will like Jesus said, where your money, where your heart is, I screwed that up. There where your heart be also, I screwed that one up. I remember, anyway, take that reel about in case if I am, this Neurolink stuff about the voice to skull mapping, brain mapping, the Neural Rights Foundation by Raphael Yuste. I don't know if that's real even. I don't know. Chile is supposed to have made it illegal, spying and stealing information from the brain waves. Allegedly, California and Colorado have laws on the books, but I'm telling you, this technology is real, and it's been real for years. And I've done things to make sure, but I think my stuff gets blocked. I don't even know if anybody's going to see this video except Fusion Centers. On my YouTube account, I might get one person or a couple of people that have watched, but I don't get any really, maybe one new subscriber. So they put it way back. And I think the only ones that watch us, including a lot of the people claiming to be eyes, are probably just Fusion Center workers. Some might be real, but I just know a large amount of the movement has just dissipated. And there isn't the push there was in 2019 when, after the vaccines, the TI stuff was supposed to explode with people getting it. And it's still happening to people. But I think we were lied to again. But we still need to get the word out that this is happening, because there were a lot of people lying about, claiming to be this, and they're thinking that if they admit too many people were lying or just making up stuff, then that'll get in the way of the fact that this technology really does exist, and that our government does do this to some people, just to see if they can, and just to see if they can pay off politicians and cops by just saying it's a federal program. So when you complain about it, if you're still alive after 30 years and find out about it, complain about it, that way they can't say, it's a federal program. It's a federal program. What can we do? It's like, well, it's against the law and it's against my constitutional rights, and you know it. And yet you guys still went along with it, hoping and trying to get people to die and kill themselves. People have never hurt you or anybody else, and yet you claim to be conservative religious, and you're literally trying to get people to kill themselves through torture or depression. And you're just a guinea pig for the brain initiative that Obama started in 20. I'm not trying to be anti-Democrat or anti-Republican. I'm just saying, as a person, as a human being, this is some horrible, shitty people that otherwise people claiming to be good or being religious they had no problem siding up with. They became the swamp and are defending the swamp, and they're not lining up to admit what is already well known, that they are doing swamp actions, swampy actions, because they got paid for it. I mean, and it's almost like they want me to forgive them, but they don't even admit to doing anything. It's like Jesus would say, it's like, well, you have to admit you've done it first and then quit doing it. Like, quit sending those constant things to my side. Quit doing it. That'll make me believe that you feel bad about it. Quit doing it. Admit you're doing it, which I already know it. And most importantly, quit doing it. But by you not quitting doing it, it shows you're not sorry. So why would somebody, it's like somebody who's a rapist and they still rape people every day, why would they say that they are sorry when they're still going to do it tonight or tomorrow? So anyway, I got a phone call, so I'll talk to you guys later.